Nigeria's government has paid $9 million, that is about 12.8 billion, to a US lobbying firm, not to buy weapons, not to secure villages, not to rebuild churches, but to convince Washington that Nigeria is protecting Christians. Let that sink in. While villages burn in Plateau, Benue, Southern Kaduna, parts of Niger and Nasarawa, while pastors are buried with no justice, while displaced Christians sleep in camps with no food, Nigeria is spending billions not on protection, but on persuasion. Who hired the lobbyists? And why does this raise serious moral, security, and credibility questions? Let's start with the basics. According to filings under the US Foreign Agent Registration Act, a Kaduna-based law firm called Asta Legal hired a powerful American lobbying and public affairs firm called DCI Group. This was done on behalf of Nigeria's National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu. The contract was signed on December 17, 2025, and the value of the contract is $9 million. The duration of the contract is for 6 months initially, running until June 30, 2026, with an automatic renewal for another 6 months. And the monthly cost is $750,000. Nigeria has reportedly paid $4.5 million upfront and 6-month retainer. And here is the key line in the contract. DCI Group is to assist the Nigerian government in communicating its action to protect Nigerian Christian communities and maintaining US support in countering West African jihadist group. In simple English, this is not about new security operations. This is not about investigation. This is not about arrest. It is about messaging. Now let's talk about timing. This contract did not appear from nowhere. In October 2025, President Donald Trump redesignated Nigeria as a country of particular concern. That designation is serious. It means the US government believes there are systematic, ongoing violations of religious freedom, particularly against Christians. Nigeria has fought this label for years. Previous administrations lobbied quietly. This one is lobbying loudly and expensively. Then in November, Trump went further. He warned that the US may take direct military action against terrorist groups operating inside Nigeria. And on Christmas Day, something unprecedented happened. The United States carried out airstrikes on terrorist enclaves in Bauni Forest, Tangaza local government, Sokoto State. Think about that. Foreign jets inside Nigerian territory. On Christmas Day, that alone tells you how serious Washington has become about this. This lobbying contract is damage control. Let's be very clear. The Nigerian government position is this, in quotes, there is no Christian genocide, and Nigeria is fighting terrorism equally. Killings are communal or criminal, not serious or religious. So what is this DCI group being paid to do? To reframe Nigeria's image before US Congress, the White House evangelical blocs, human rights committees, defense and security circles. DCI Group is not a small firm. They have worked with Republican power brokers, conservative policy groups, high-level media operators. This is narrative warfare, and narrative matters in Washington. But here's the problem. Narratives collapse when reality contradicts them. Let's talk about that reality. Middle Belt states have recorded thousands of deaths over the past few years. Communities have been overrun, displaced, wiped off maps, and attacks have followed similar patterns. night raids, churches targeted, farmland seized, but there have been no arrests, no prosecutions, and victims bury their dead, while attackers walk freely. And when survivors speak, they are told, don't politicize it. So here is the contradiction. If Nigeria is truly protecting Christians, why are communities forming self-defense groups? Why are IDP camps full? And why do victims still identify attackers by ethnicity and ideology? Why is justice almost non-existent? Lobbying cannot answer these questions. Now let's ask the hard question. Is spending 12.8 billion naira on foreign lobbyists moral when soldiers lack equipment, police lack intelligence tools, victims lack food and shelter, communities lack early warning systems? This money could secure dozens of vulnerable communities, fund rapid response units, and support displaced families. Instead, it is funding perception management. This is not illegal, but is it ethical? To victims, this signals something very painful, that the government is more worried about Washington's opinion than villagers' survival. To attackers, it sends another message, that consequences are negotiable, that pressure matters more than justice. And to the international communities, it raises doubts. If things are truly improving, why spend $9 million saying so? Let's end here. Security is not a lobbying contract. Protection is not a PowerPoint. And justice is not a media strategy. You do not convince the world Nigeria is safe for Christians by hiring Washington firms. You convince the world by arresting perpetrators, prosecuting the sponsors, ending impunity, and protecting lives. Until that happens, every dollar spent on lobbying will look like an admission that the truth is harder to sell than the story. This is not anti-Nigeria. This is pro-accountability, because no nation becomes strong by exporting its conscience. If you believe victims deserve protection before propaganda, subscribe. And if you believe real security matters more than global optics, share this video. This is Impact Media.
Living in the US for more than a month in those 20 years at a time. And I know that whenever the US government is entering any country for whatever reason, there's always multiplicity of attempts to swindle people, to force the country to part. The US has practically become a pirate, stealing oil from high seas, snatching people for commercial reasons. It's not as if there's no difference between what they were doing when they came and took slaves away from here and what they are doing now. They are just a little bit more refined in the way they do, but the same way of extortion. And this is one of the outcomes you get. It's extortion. You go to a country and you bomb the country. In this case, we don't even know if anybody was bombed. Just some warheads that fell. Maybe they decided to use expired bombs so that they will not kill anybody. And you create panic. And the next thing, the US government is out there. Republicans are collecting money as, what they call them, lobbyists. I'm sure beyond that, some of the politicians are already getting donations from Tinubu. Tinubu understands the US very well. He lived there. He was there, as I've always said, as a criminal, because he was selling drugs. Yes. And so he understands them very well. He knows what they want. That's why he never spoke publicly when they were harassing him. And I'm sure they have a whole lot of dossier on him and has kept him very grounded in a way that he knows what will please them. But nothing is new. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. This is how the US operates. And for those of you who don't understand, one day you will understand, because I know some of you are new to these things and you are always very agitated when Securit tells you the truth. about the US. The US cannot save you except you save yourself. The US has never saved anybody except the US. Even now, the US is unable to save their citizens. They are killing people on their own streets for immigration offense. They are killing their citizens. It's fascism, and it's the reason why some of us stand up and say it, even when it's unpopular. Yeah. As you are all aware, I think Donald Trump has more supporters in Nigeria than he has in the US at this point. So we know.